everybody, Jepp here, and if you clicked on this video, you're probably wondering to yourself, what is the sole reason or the number one reason why you died the most in Rainbow Six Siege? And I have that answer here for you in this video. So the number one thing that contributes to the most deaths for you in Siege is actually the information game. Now let me explain to you what that is. The information game is how much information you and your opponent give and receive. Generally, the way things go in Siege is whoever gives out more information is typically the one who dies first, while the other person who gives out the least amount of information stays alive longer. The same could be said for the other side, with the player who receives the most amount of information is more likely to win the gunfight, while the person who doesn't receive as much information is likely to lose that gunfight. And let me explain to you why. So there's a lot of perks that can happen in rounds to getting more information. You knowing where the enemies are, what side on the map they're pushing on, what rooms they're in, if they're clearing out the top floor and working down, or if they're hitting the garage first. You knowing where the enemies are gives you a huge advantage on the round. And say if you're close enough to actually get a kill on an enemy, you knowing generally where the enemy is or exactly where the enemy is can help you win the gunfight over your opponent. Whether that's audio cues, cameras, drones, pulse's scanner, or something like that. Also, another perk to having more information just gives you more confidence to push the area. Whether you know a room is clear, so you're not sitting there checking every single corner. If you had someone drone out for you or you droned it out yourself, you know that the room's clear, so you can quickly move through the area, saving you more time in the round. I don't know about you guys, but when I know exactly where the enemy is, it gives me so much more confidence to push that enemy, whether it's attack or defense, based on the information game. So let's go over a couple things on what happens when you don't have as much information as your opponents. Right off the bat, them knowing where you are is a severe disadvantage to you. So let's say you're like far away from the objective, so there's not much action going on around you. Every little sound you make is an audio cue to any opponent in the general area of your location. And if people are good enough, they can actually pinpoint pretty much your exact location just given an easy audio cue, whether it's the shuffling of you going through a standing to a crouch position, or you leaning from left and right, or getting on your drone, or reloading. Some people can even hear you reload from like a ways away, and that is like a really big audio cue. Now if you're closer to where the action is, where there's a lot of gunfire going around, there's a lot of people shuffling around, every little sound you make may be muffled from all the other sounds that are happening. So a really good example I'm gonna give is how to better counter the bandit trick. See, like 99% of what a good bandit trigger does is they listen so desperately for the subtle cue of Thermite putting his exothermic charge on the wall, or Habana's pellets going on the wall, and that's what they're looking out for. They don't really care about any other sound that's going around. Their brain is trained to listen for that one sound. So if you're attacking a wall and a bandit is doing their bandit trick on the other side of the wall, you need to make as much sound as possible to try and mask the sound of the exothermic charge going off. Some things I like to do is I like to have another teammate melee the garage wall. I like to have some people shoot the garage wall. Some people doing a bunch of crouch or leaning sounds, just doing everything they can to make as much noise as possible. Maybe a bandit doesn't have the chance to hear which wall is actually getting the exothermic charge put on it. So while we're on the topic of attack, I do want to say that your best opportunity to get more information in a round is the drone. I don't really need to go over it because everyone knows how powerful the drone is, but seriously, like having people drone throughout the map, prep phase and during the action phase, helps you out so much. Gives you more confidence to push the area, lets you know that an area of the map is clear or if there's hostile, and then that way you and your team can make a coordinated push onto the person. If you're able to drone out the defender, that pushes the information game heavily into your favor. The only real information the defender gets from being droned out is they know that A, the attackers know where they are, and B, someone is likely to push the defender soon. So what a defender needs to do if they get droned out is they need to make the decision, are they going to stay and fight or are they going to relocate? If they're going to stay and fight, they need to know which entryways that an attacker could come in from, whether that's doorways, windows, hatches, or walls. They need to anticipate where an attacker is going to come from to try and even out the information game as much as they can. Same for the attackers. They need to make a really quick strat on how they're going to push this defender and maybe do something unordinarily that most people don't do that might catch the defender off guard. He's trying to predict where that person's going to come from. So besides the drone, there's really not much that attackers have at their disposal to get more information. Drone is easily the best, and then honestly just listening for sound cues is probably the second best thing. Now you do have a third option in your choice of operators when you bring on the attack. Now see, the defenders have a huge plethora of operators that can get more information, and we're going to talk about that later in the video. But for the attackers, they don't really have much options when it comes to picking an operator that gets you more information. The only things I can really think of off my mind are Jackal, Dokkaebi, Lion. Those are like the really easy ones. But then also you could kind of think of like Gridlock and Nomad as well. Now those operators are meant to stop the flank, and they do a really good job at it, and it puts the information balance in your favor because because if they have to push you, they have to make noise. Whether that's dealing with Gridlock's gadget or pushing the air jab from Nomad, they have to do something in order to get closer to you. So at least you know that, hey, our flank is covered, and if I do hear something go off, whether that's someone dealing with the mines that were placed, you at least know where the defenders are coming from, expanding the gap between you and the defender's information game even more. One more tip for attack that I'm going to give you is if you're having a hard time trying to match the information game for the defenders, like for example, they're bringing like a Mozzie, Maestro, Valkyrie, like operators that are meant to get information, you need to bring operators that help you out with that, whether that's a Thatcher to get rid of the gadgets, a Twitch to help get rid of the gadgets, and IQ really helps too. And that's why I like playing IQ so much, because Valk is so strong and so prevalent. IQ does a really good job on finding the gadgets that gain the defenders more information. Okay, so with attack out of the way, let's head over to defense. Now, the best thing you can do to get more information on defense is, well, play information ops. We went over this previously, but Valkyrie, Maestro, anybody with bulletproof cameras, Mozzie to deny information too. Now, Mozzie's a really cool operator too, because Mozzie can get information and deny information from the attackers, because you know that the drone has to either A, go through it, and then you gain the information and take away information from the attackers from stealing one of their drones, or the drone is going to have to find another way around, or the attackers are going to have to utilize utility to get rid of that pest, or get themselves exposed to try and shoot the pest away. So Valkyrie is easily the best defender in Siege that gets you more information, and she gets a guaranteed 3 cameras and can put them anywhere in and outside the map. So Valkyrie is straight up an S tier operator for information, and that's actually what her whole operator kit is designed around. One tip I want to give for the defensive team is to actually get on the static cameras, you know, the default cameras on the outside of the map as soon as the prep phase ends. And I'm trying to work on this too, because you'll be surprised how much information you gain in like the first 5 seconds of a round if at least one person hops on the default cameras on the outside of the map. And if you're quick enough, you can ping the attackers, revealing which operator they chose, which is huge when it comes to information. And you can see generally where the attackers are coming from. Say all 5 of them spawned on the west side of the map, then you know that more than likely the west side of the map is going to be hit hard from the attackers. So you can either fortify that by sending your roamers over to the west side of the map, or you can send your roamers back, let the attackers get a little bit of map control, see if your roamers can go ahead with the flank once the attackers entered the map. Again, when we talk about the information game, you at least knowing what the operators are and what side of the map they're pushing on in the first 5 seconds of the round helps out so much and widens the gap a little bit for the defending side. I want you guys to get more familiar with the information game, and I know I keep on referring to that in video, but that's honestly the biggest thing that gets you killed more in Siege than anything else. The more information the opponents have over you is not good. So you need to do as much as you can to limit the amount of information you give out, whether that's through sound cues or avoiding cameras or stuff like that. And you guys need to do a better job on receiving information as well, whether that's clearing comms, checking cameras, which defenders, you guys gotta check your cameras more. And every once in a while, I want you guys to spend a couple seconds just standing still during a round and just listening. You'd be surprised how much information you get from the other team if you just sit still every once in a while and just focus on just listening what's around you, what's going on across the map, and then acting on the information that you receive. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 to this video. I'd actually be really interested on making it. Make sure to follow me on all my platforms, Insta, Twitch, TikTok. All the links for those can be in the description. Also, another really good piece of information that you can get in the description of this video is the link to the Discord server. Our Discord server is full of die-hard Siege fans. We're always looking for other people to play with, so your chances of solo queuing go down a lot more if you join the Discord server. Also, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications if you're new. Now, with all that being said, Jeppy out.